And it's another thing significant, man, about these like this massive demon campaign, man. For one, it was reported years ago already, to almost every facet, of this country. At 17, I personally called anyway. After that point, that's, that's pretty much it. And then they had been, made awareness to the attack, I brought awareness to the attack that was on my life, in addition to my literary works and also my quotes, my viral quotes, that extended everywhere. In 2004, and then also, it's another thing, like, it's almost as if the jealous influences and demon entity or whatever it is, like, it's like they try to, like, take my success back from me. Everybody know that, okay, I already told the world when I started first self-publishing. And that was like in 2012 to 13. In 14, I debuted. It pretty much, you could count it as a debut because I really blew up. I went everywhere, international. I was everywhere, but for the positive image. For the positive message. And that was the reality I was. I went. That was the content and the substance of my content. I was speaking positive things contrary to whatever else was going on. But that's just who I was as a person, not because of any kind of role I was playing. You feel me? But it's crazy. It's almost as if they try to, like, take my success from me. It's like, I'm not finna, we're not finna forget, what they did. They launched all these smear, distortion, violent, murderous campaign. They hired militias, military. They hired, streets and, enforcements. Like, it was a massive thing. Like, it all was happening simultaneous, And they just all attacked me at once. And, from 2014 to 2018, for a fact, that definitely was, it was all bad all the time. And, it wasn't the worst times of my life, but it was bad. Like, it was the worst times of my life after I became aware of what was happening. But it was already, anybody who see that this happening now to this esteem, that, you realize the timing of things, that you realize it was already happening a long time before. I just wasn't aware of it. It was unbeknownst to me, but it still was happening, all these different attacks on every facet of my life. It was massive framing, coercions and all this huge stuff, man, majorly it was negligence, because nothing happening later past the point when it was reported could have happened after, if that was, if this was a civil, godly society, but God is hated. So that's why things transpired as they did. But yeah, man, it's almost as if they try to, like, take my success from me. The reason why they did all that stuff was to actually have my aesthetics, ideas, and concepts and things. And so they constantly, it's been a constant campaign. Like, it's not just beginning. Like, I don't understand why it goes along with the, concept of some trying to take my success from me. It's like, I've been on the scene. It's just, I'm not a new artist. I'm the reason why a lot of others, I ain't the kind of person that, but they position they put me in, making me have to clarify things like that, But I'm not a new artist, I had already went, for my natural ability, skills, and talent, I had already blew up, like, in 14, It's just, somebody jealous saw that, and they had more mammon than me, and more clout, I guess, than I did. Even though, that wasn't things I was focused on, that's things they were focused on. But, they had that, and so they did all this evil to me out of envy, man. They coveted it, So it was a blockade. But really, the damage was already did long before, I even started writing. Like, it was weird, Like, before I started, before I started self-publishing, the damage was already did. I just didn't know about it, It was already rendered. I was already under some kind of antagonistic attack, And before that point, I was nothing but a child. And I was pretty much a quiet, withdrawn kind of child anyway, which is, is evident in my preference of art. Most writers are solitary people, man. That's just the nature of, and that was just my personality. I wasn't the kind of person that, that seek trouble or nothing like that. God had gave me wisdom. God's hand been on my life, my whole life anyway. And they see now, they can pretty much get, don't take, it's common sense, you can pretty much put together that, okay, they see how I am now, as far as, like, as an author and everything. They know that this had to be going on then. And, they see God's power, for good for his people and stuff that was on my life, to bring the gospel and good things that align to the Holy Bible, things that are in accordance to the scripture, the Holy Scriptures, which society, claims to be up under. So, that shouldn't come as no surprise, biblical prophecies and things. But that's the reality though, man. Like, it's not my fault, the position that these things had put me into. You feel me? I didn't ask I didn't ask to be put into this kind of situation or these positions. It was just a matter of, covetous, man. It was some type of, it had to do with racial. Then it also was just a mixture of individuals that were just jealous, man. Who, they had no souls. They sold out, they sold their soul to the devil and mammon and material things. And so it was some witches and, they joined forces, to stop God's work and to destroy his vulnerable messenger, because that's the nature of today's society. And the thing is, they abuse God's gifts every generation. So, that's the way that humanity does, every time. They exploit God for their own gain. But this time was the defining time now, because now they see this time is really significant in history, because you see clearly why God, why the scripture end like it does, and what like why God's attitude with humanity is the way it is, especially now, because a lot has, like, right now is a significant point in history for a lot of reasons, because it showed that pretty much, and I made a quote about it earlier, like probably a week ago or something, and it was saying pretty much how at this point it shows that because of the nature of a person's, not only their race, but also their religion, it has been found acceptable in the eyes of the structures of this country to continue a proven, open, blatant race crime, and framing attempt to continue something that was utterly prevented, for the same result and intention of hiding somebody's creativity and still, and still destroying their right to exist as a person, in the favor of influential figures that are envious, and that I guess their biases were in favor of, favoritism. So because of someone's preference of somebody else's, let's say, reign or success, then they fear that somebody that like, for instance, my success, is somehow, like overshadowing their success. What I'm saying? And that's inadvertent for me, but to them, that's very important. So because they feel like I'm a threat to someone's success who also have stolen from my life, destroyed from my life, committed all kind of egregious war crimes, and then, had to continue after it was reported to every structure, 3 years ago already, 4 years ago. So, it's like, that's showing that society is no longer society. It's something totally different, because this is real life and it's being allowed. And it's been allowed for the past 7 years alone. And everything, that every false argument was disproven utterly, after it was concocted in the first place. And all of it was arranged, like this whole situation. And it's crazy, man, because and my whole body of work, also I want to clarify, so my whole body of work is my literary work, my as well, like I got these recordings, my art, my work, all this is my body of work. And just as the body of work of those, they can be esteemed, and the thing is, like, I was, and I clarified this early on, I clarified many times throughout the years, like, I was not in the bracket of those that was persecuting me, I wasn't according to the same reality which they lived by, and they was, that they was in, they were it's people that were being catcalled by, like, the same entities and things that intentionally ignored my cries for help reports and my testimony of what's happening to my life undeserved. They, the same entities that were ignoring that was also catcalling, some influential figures, to murder me, destroy my life, kill me, take every facet of my life. And that's what was happening the whole time, all year long. all these years long, man. It was just numerous, complicated, sophisticated ways of carrying out these things. And every time it was reported, through the best way I could, considering the circumstances I was in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for some reason, they not like evil, not wanting to recognize, my circumstances. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't change the reality of the circumstances. It's not my fault I didn't ask to be put into this position, but rather somebody else's decisions made for my life. You know what I'm saying? That was external. That wasn't related to me or my correspondence, in the first place. Decided that this was going to happen to my life, and then it was allowed to be carried out as such until this point. And now at this point, it all come to a head and it's exposed. So it's one long crime over the course of many years, under false pretenses, because influential figures were lying in order to preserve some false image that they themselves want to uphold, even seeing that there's no substance to it. And that was the situation, Like they slandered me and slandered my body of work, which is that's the highest form of disrespect, to de-emphasize or discredit, devalue, somebody's contribution and, and to, in their pain, It's one of those, it's the highest form of disrespect, to, discredit, devalue and depreciate, the content of somebody's, like the things that they value most, and me being an author, then of course that's my art, my literature. And, because of my literary talent, it's been found acceptable, in the interest of those who also already have, numerous counts of all types of things, that they haven't been recognized for whatever reason. But they've been reported every time, some of, those same influential figures, they lie and slander me and, put me into this position, Then they claim well, okay, it's just satanic cults. So because it's satanic cults, then, you just got to accept it. Like, nah, man. I don't fear no evil, man. I follow God. But this is, I could see if this was a situation that was none of my business. That's different. But this happened to me. This is my stuff, my creations. And I know the things that they were saying wasn't true, period. The whole time. And I reported it as such. And I disproved everything simultaneous every year, all year long. Just like they see me posting off the top poetry, my micro poetry now. This stuff copyrighted. I've been doing this the whole time, not just now. Every year I've been doing this. They've been getting distracted and things like that, I guess, in order to carry out this ulterior motive, a hate crime, race crime, But that's what's going on. It's a massive crime situation, That's been going on for just 7 years, the last 7 years alone, and for which I got a testimony that supported, in detail. And, there's no reason why my stuff wouldn't be considered in order to perpetuate the same evil that's been going on. Influential figures, envious of my talent, as you see clearly, Then they try to de-emphasize it and devalue it and discredit you, So they be glorified at your expense. So they do all that. They do all those things to your body of work. And just like to put it like it's pretty much to put like a box in it, like put you in a box. And then they can have like a continual feeding off your aesthetics and dynamics and stuff. Because they knew the fullness of the situation, while other people didn't. Other people just knew the slanders that they had put out. That they paid, campaigners and stuff like, smear campaign. They pay people to embrace those slanders about you, defamation and things that's clearly not true. And while they doing that on the low, they're making money off of your dynamics, aesthetics, and ideals the thought of you give them. The things that they learn from just by stalking you in your regular life illegally for many years. And they taking substance of your life, not just your art, but also your actual life, and then they incorporate that into, they stuff, and then they make men, they get filthy off it, man. And that's the situation. They put me in a position of having to illuminate this by the incessant nature of this hate. It's antichrist hatred. It's straight from the pits of hell. Like, it was never no rational reason for it. People even told me, they're like, there's no excuse for what we did. Well, I'm like, well, what that's supposed to mean for me? I'm still, I write art, I make art to glorify God with. And that's how I always have been, so that's telling you about what kind of society this is. So it's pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted these things here to be clarified though, man, because, this is just one of many things, But yeah, check out some of my micro poetry, man. This is how it gets down, every year, all year long. I love, I glorify God, talk about my life, real life things I've gone through, like so many others do. You know what I'm saying? Many others, especially people who have already, taken from my, it gets deep, you know what I'm saying? But it's the same that's the situation it is, so and then society try to like attribute everything that happened to my life to who it want to pick, but I say otherwise. So therefore I'm not responsible for, any persecution that they, wish to dish, more persecution they want to give to me or other people saying whatever. I mean, but at the same time though, it's like they create that situation on purpose, man. Like, it's like it pretty much they set me up to be destroyed, man. Like early on, just because they saw my talent, they want to preserve, they want to preserve their idols. You know what I'm saying? They want to preserve their idols. They didn't want to accept the fact that something more talented existed. You know what I'm saying? And that's reality. And in reality, their gods would be, because of considering my identity in God and who they know and what things they know now, you know what I'm saying, to understand now, the things they able to discern because it's been revealed to them from heaven, from God, then they would know that even their own idols, man, would be absolutely honored to get any kind of shout out from me, But that's the reality. I mean, I'm just to put it into perspective a little bit, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's never been my intention, man. I had no intentions of ever embracing persecution with my own art form, but given what was happening to me and how it was being ignored, my reports of it, I was forced to like kind of weaponize my art form. And they did that on purpose. They intentionally ignored my stuff in order to be able to coerce me into the reality of these influential figures that hated God and knew that I was of God. So they knew I would be destroyed. So that's conspiracy to commit murder through negligence. And that was happening for over 7 years already. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, they put me into that position of having to use my work to try to like get help for myself and talk about the things that was going on around me every year, all year, every day. So that was never something I wanted to do and, talk about, you know what I mean? And pretty much for that point, you can pretty much guess, anybody can assess like that point, that pretty much if the content would have been different, the content would have been different if the constants would have been different. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it don't really, at this point, it's pretty much, I said it's like 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? It's easy, man. At this point, it's to understand what's really taking place here, and it was merciless, evil, and absolutely from the pits of hell. And no living creature in the world, not even animals, should be subject to things like this. And I've been subject to things that animals been subjected to, like, you know what I'm saying? Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, everything. I got the full 100% works, man. Just like they would do somebody like that, or something like a creature, man, that was hated. Like they do the things that I faced, you know what I'm saying, throughout the course of these last 7 years has been absolutely inhumane, cruel, and torturous. And then just imagine the things that was already, and it was already going on before I became aware of it. So just imagine the things that had taken place. But this is real life, man. This is really happening to a person because they're extra talented. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason they're talented, and also for their race. And then really it matters together, man. I mean, it really matters not because the evil is the devil. It's all of one mind. It's the Baphomet. You know what I'm saying? It's the same synonymous with Satan. It's all of one mind. So, it don't matter. Like at that point, at that type of level, it don't really. I mean, it still matters, things like race and stuff, but not as much though. It goes more towards just what the devil wants for someone that's of God. See, and when it get to certain levels, that's what it becomes. It becomes less racial and jealousy to just what Satan wants for someone that's of God. But any lower, it instantly kicks into reality. It's race, it's jealousy, it's lust for mammon, pride, things like that, covetous. So I mean, it's a pretty much easy to understand situation. But yeah, I just want this to be clarified though, man. Yeah, this whole situation, everybody can pretty much see that now I was never, God ain't mean for me to have to talk about persecution, but because the evil that's in the world and the devil in the world, he defiled God's creations every generation. You know what I'm saying? You see it clearly. Every time, everything God do, the devil gets in people to defile it. And that's been happening for generation after generation. God give a gift to a generation, then that's what they do. They defile it, destroy it, step on it, spit on it. Well, this was the last time, you know what I'm saying? And you see in the Bible and the scripture, the time will come, man, where God will address the world on his own terms. The saints and his messages and stuff will be in heaven, and we'll see it all. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point, Babylon, will be recognized by itself, and it'll understand itself, and what it is in the Bible and why it is what it is for situations like this right here, Glory to God, though.